Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great day for stories. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. It's a little cloudy here in Mitzvah Yericho in Israel, but it is a great day. Things are just getting better and better here. We're hoping that people start feeling better, and we're hoping that soon we can go far away from our houses. Right now, here in Eretz Yisrael, we have to stay very close to our house. We're not allowed to go too far from our houses. But this morning, our family came out and we exercised on my porch out here, and we went for a good walk. So it was really it's just things are getting better. Okay, now here's what I want to show you today, because I like to show you something special in Mitzvah Yericho or in my house every day, something special. And today I saved just for before Shabbat something really special for you. The last day of the week, I saved something incredible. And if I gave you 100 guesses, you wouldn't be able to guess what it is. It's in my study, like we went to look at yesterday, but I didn't point it out yesterday because I wanted to save it for today. So we're going to have to pick up the camera and we're going to go into my study again and see the really special thing. Are you guys ready? I couldn't hear you. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. We're going to go. Okay, we're picking up the camera here, and now we have to turn. We can say hello to the Moses boys who are watching. Okay, and then, because they're in those houses over there. And then we're going to go here. We're going to knock on the door, because remember, that's what we have to do. Even on our own houses, we have to knock on the door first. Nobody's home. Nobody's there, so that's good. Well, it's because I'm the only one that lives down here. Okay, and we're going to kiss the mezuzah, but I wiped the mezuzah beforehand to make sure that it was clean, because we have to be very careful nowadays that we don't touch a mezuzah and kiss a mezuzah unless we're able to make sure it's clean first. So I did that. Okay, now we're going to kiss the mezuzah. And now we're going to open up the door and go inside, and I'm going to show you something so special. You guys ready? Here we go. Look what I have in my study. Well, you see a lot of svarim, but do you know what this is? Now you're sitting here and you're saying, come on, that's just a cabinet. There's nothing special. But then wait a minute. If it's just a cabinet, why does it have a lock on it? In your house, most of the cabinets don't have a lock, so why does this one have a lock? Well, if we have a lock on something, it must be really special. Well, this isn't just a cabinet. In Hebrew, a cabinet is an aron, and this is a really special aron. It's an aron kodesh, because inside aren't toys, not tomato sauce, not ketchup, but inside this Aron Kodesh is a Sefer Torah. That's right, this is my Sefer Torah, and I have an Aron Kodesh to keep it safe, to make sure, but not only to keep it safe, but we want to have a special place for the Torah to make sure that we treat the Torah in a very special way. Because if we didn't treat it special, then it wouldn't really be special to us. Now, here's something interesting. I'm already standing up. But if I was sitting down, even in my own house, in my own study, and somebody opened up the Aron Kodesh, it's such a special time that the Aron Kodesh is open. It's an Eis Ratzon, a time we can daven to Hashem, that I would stand up just because the Aron is open. Just like when we go to Shul and they open up the Aron Kodesh, we stand up. We stand up out of kavod for the Sefer Torah. And if you look, do you see anything else in the Aron Kodesh? There's no other svarim. There's no pens or toys. There's nothing in the Aron Kodesh except the Sefer Torah, because we make sure that this Aron Kodesh is kadosh just for the Torah. So I wanted to show you that, because yesterday I showed you my study, but I didn't show you the most special part of my study. The most special part of my study is the Aron Kodesh and the Sefer Torah. And hopefully, Be'ezrat Hashem, at the end of the show, I'm going to show, as my show and tell for today, I'm going to show you the Sefer Torah that I keep in my Aron Kodesh. Isn't that great? Okay, that was amazing. Absolutely, I love my Aron Kodesh. And it's so special that I get to have an Aron Kodesh inside my house. Okay, now, let's go on. Ready for a great story? I have an amazing, amazing story for you today. Really incredible. Incredible. And the story took place not so far from here. Do you know, if I would get in my car, I can't do it today because today we're not allowed to go too far from our houses because we're being very careful to stay healthy. And you stay healthier by staying near your house. So I'm going to stay close to my house. But if I wasn't close to my house, and I got in my car, and I drove only 20 minutes, that's it, I would be in Yerushalayim. I would be at the Kotel. And behind the Kotel, even more special than the Kotel, is Har HaBayit. And our story takes place in Yerushalayim, near Har HaBayit, a little over 2,000 years ago. And our story is about somebody named Bava ben Buta. Can you guys say that? That's 3 bets, 3 B's. So it's fun to say. Bava ben Buta. Okay. Bava ben Buta lived in Eretz Yisrael he lived during the time of the second Beit Hamikdash. And he was a dayan. He was a judge. People that had problems with each other, and somebody said, you owe me money, and somebody else said, well, you owe me money. They would go to Bava ben Buta. He was a big Talmid Chacham. He knew all the laws of the Torah, and they would go to him and say, Rav Bava ben Buta, please help us decide who's right here. Am I right? Is he right? Who gets to have the money? And he would answer all their questions. He was a dayan. Now, when Bava ben Buta lived, there were a lot of big Talmidei Chachamim, big rabbis, big rabbanim, big people that knew a lot, and Bava ben Buta was one of them, okay? Bava ben Buta was special, but he was one of them. And there was a very mean king that lived at that time. His name was Hordus, or Herod, okay? In fact, you can see something from my house if you look. Let's see, maybe we'll do it for show and tell one day, but do you see, it's hard to see, I don't know if you can see. Do you see there's like I don't know if you could tell, but there's like a light out there. All the way, let's see, there. I don't know if you could see it. But in any case, there's a flat mountain out there. He actually built that. Hordus built that, okay? And Hordus, who in English, his name is Herod, but I don't think he ever heard that name. Okay, so Hordus was a very, very mean king. Very mean, and he was very jealous, and he was the king here in Eretz Yisrael. He was the king of the Jews, but he wasn't really Jewish, and he didn't act like a nice Jew. He acted very mean, and he was always scared of the people who were really in power and really in charge, and those were the Romans. We've talked about them a lot. They were really mean, and Hordus would be mean in order to make sure the Romans liked him. The meaner that he was, the more the Romans liked him. So, and he was really, really mean. And one day, Hordus said, you know, those rabbis, those Talmidei Chachamim, they don't like me. And if they don't like me, maybe one day they're going to try to become king over me. So I can't let them live. And Hordus said something that was horrible. He ordered that all the rabbis, all the Talmidei Chachamim, be killed. Who does that? It was a horrible, horrible day. And Hordus killed all the rabbis. Isn't that unbelievable? He killed all the rabbis. What a horrible, horrible man. But he left one rabbi live. He left Bava ben Buta live. But he wanted to make sure Bava ben Buta knew that he couldn't rebel. He couldn't fight against the king. So he made Bava ben Buta, by hurting him, he made him blind. He was a very, very mean king, this Hordus. Very, very mean. And Bava ben Buta, one day, after all his friends were killed, all the other Rabbanim were killed, and he was the only Rav around, and he was the only Dayan around, one day he was walking, and he couldn't tell who was near him because he couldn't see anymore. And a man came up to him and said, "Are you Bava ben Buta?" And they said, "I am." He said, "I have a question for you." And this would happen a lot with Bava ben Buta. People would come up and ask him questions because he knew a lot of the Torah, and there wasn't really anybody left to ask because Hordus, the evil king, had killed all the Rabbanim. So Bava ben Buta said, "Well, what can I do for you? How can I answer your question?" And this man, who Bava ben Buta didn't know who he was talking to, said to Bava ben Buta, "Don't you think Hordus is a very mean king?" And Bava ben Buta was very careful, because if Hordus heard that he said that he was a mean king, Hordus could kill him. And then there would be no Torah teachers left. And also Bava ben Buta didn't want to die. So Bava ben Buta said, "Well, I didn't say that." He said, "Well, he killed all the Rabbanim, all your friends, all the other people that knew Torah. Of course he's a horrible person." He said, "Well, I wouldn't say that. And I don't know if you should say that either." So he said, "Well, come on. I mean, look, he doesn't keep the Torah, and he kills people, and he's very mean, and he shouldn't even be king. Don't you agree?" And Bava ben Buta said, I didn't say that. Nope, I'm not saying that at all." And every time this man tried to get Bava ben Buta to say something mean against Hordus, Bava ben Buta would not say anything mean against Hordus, even though obviously in his mind he was thinking there's no one more evil and more horrible and meaner than Hordus. But he wouldn't say anything mean about him. And this man tried everything. Now, I'm sure you're trying to guess who is this man. And I'm sure some of you have figured it out already. Who do you think the man was? Let me hear. Yup, it was Hordus himself. Hordus was trying to see if Bava ben Buta would say anything mean about him. And he knew Bava ben Buta wouldn't know it was him because Bava ben Buta couldn't see anymore. But Hordus tried everything. And then Hordus realized, he said, "Whoa, Bava ben Buta's really smart. No matter what I said, he wouldn't say anything mean about me. I'll bet you all the other rabbis were just as smart. And if all the other rabbis were just as smart, I'll bet you they would have been able to help me, and they didn't want to try to hurt me." And he got very sad, and he said, I really, really wish I hadn't killed the rabbis." He didn't know what to do, because it was too late. So he called Bava ben Buta into his palace. And he said, Hordus built these big, big palaces. He was famous for the palaces he would build. And even today, over 2,000 years later, like I told you, like on that mountain over there, right there, you can still see things that Hordus built. You can still see his palaces that are still built. They're still here. That's how big of a builder and how good of a builder Hordus was. And Hordus went to Bava ben Buta and he called him to his palace. And he said, "Bava ben Buta, what am I going to do? I killed all the rabbis and I shouldn't have done it. I don't know what I'm so sad. I should never have done that." Bava ben Buta said, "You're right. It was a big mistake of yours. You should never have done that." And he said, "But what do I do now? It's too late. I already did it and I can't do anything about it." And Bava ben Buta said, "It's true. You can't bring them back and you can't make me not blind. That was a big mistake that you did." So Hordus says, "Well, what can I do? I want to do teshuvah. I want to try to correct my mistake. I want to repent. I want to do teshuvah. What can I do to repent?" And Bava ben Buta said, "Well, listen, I'll tell you what you can do. The Beit Hamikdash was built when, this is the second Beit Hamikdash that was built when Bnei Israel didn't have that much money. And it's not that beautiful. If you make the Beit HaMikdash beautiful, then that could correct your mistake for killing the rabbis. Hordus loved building, but he said, but if I build the Beit HaMikdash, that's not going to be good because the Romans are going to be angry at me for building it nice. They're going to say, why are you making the Jews' building nicer? Why are you making their Beit HaMikdash nicer? We're trying to be mean to the Jews. Why are you being nice? Well, Baba Mabuta had an answer. He said, listen, the Romans live very far away. They live all the way in Rome. That's a long trip. Send a messenger there with the question of whether or not you should build the Beit HaMikdash nice. Send the messenger and tell him he should take at least a year to get there. And then when he gets there, he should wait at least a year before he asks the question. And once he asks the question, then he should take a year to get back. And by that time, it'll be 3 years, and whatever you've done is done, and you won't have to worry anymore. So, Baba Ben Buta's idea really seemed like a great idea to Hordus. He picked a messenger, he sent them off, and the minute he sent them off, he started building the Beit HaMikdash again. And let me tell you, this was a beautiful Beit HaMikdash. In fact, the rabbis that lived at the time of this Beit HaMikdash said that if you never saw Hordus's Beit HaMikdash, if you never saw it, you've never seen a building as beautiful as this in your whole life. This building is more beautiful than anything you've ever seen. So, what made it so beautiful? I'll tell you what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that he built it by putting a gray stone and a blue stone on top of each other, another gray stone, another blue stone, and when you step back and looked at it, it looked like the ocean waves flowing back and forth over the Beit HaMikdash. And it was so beautiful. In fact, Hordus went to the Rabbanim, and they said, should we put gold all over the Beit HaMikdash and make the whole thing gold, an entire building? And the Rabbanim said, no. As beautiful as gold is, it isn't nearly as beautiful as the building that you built. That's how beautiful the Beit HaMikdash was. And Hordus, although he wished he hadn't killed the Rabbanim, and we wish he hadn't killed those Rabbanim, because they would have taught so much more Torah, and we would still be learning their Torah, he built a beautiful Beit HaMikdash. Unfortunately, Bnei Israel, the Jewish people, didn't keep the mitzvot, and they weren't nice to each other, and eventually the Romans came and they destroyed that Beit HaMikdash, and that's why it's not there anymore. But if we take a step back and we think about it, a lot of times in our own lives, we do things that we wish we had never done. We know, right? Sometimes we make a mistake. Sometimes we call somebody a name that's not nice. Sometimes we say something not nice to somebody. Sometimes we say something not nice about somebody. Sometimes we don't listen to our parents when they tell us to do something. And we really feel bad about it. But what can we do? We already did it. But that's the beautiful thing about this story. It tells us that even if you did something bad, you can still make it better. Because you can do what Hordus did. And that is called teshuvah. That's called, in English, it's called repenting, which isn't the word we use so much. But what it means is you can go and apologize to the person, and you can tell Hashem, I'm not going to do it again. And then you could do a good mitzvah, And that mitzvah and your tshuva and saying you're not going to do it again and feeling bad about it, that together will make the mistake better. Isn't that a beautiful idea? It's so important, and I'm sure a lot of you sitting in your house now, not being able to go to school, sometimes we say things to our brothers or sisters we don't really mean, or to our parents, and we really wish we would have been a lot nicer, and this is a way. Okay, that's our story, but I promised you one more thing. But before I do that, I want to tell you, I got last night 2 videos from people that watch this show every day. And they made me so happy. They were questions. And I'm going to think about it because we're not going to have another show until Yom Rishon, until on Sunday. And I'm going to think about how I can figure out how to put your videos on my show. I want to try to figure out how to do that. And if you send me a video, you can send it to me on Facebook. You can tell your parents, or they can look for my email address, or if anybody needs my email address, they can send me a message on Facebook and I'll send you my email address. And if you send me a video, I'll try to put it on the show and everybody can see you on the show also, and then I'll answer your question. So you can send me a video with a question and I'll try to answer it. And for the people that already sent me a question, thank you very much, and I'm going to try my very best to try to figure out how to put your videos into this show. Okay, now let me show you the Sefer Torah, which is special. We're going to go back into my study. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay. Again, what do we do when we go into somebody's house? Even our own house? We knock. And of course, this time, no one's going to answer because I'm the only one here. And if we clean the mezuzah, which we did, and we're very careful, we cleaned our hands, we can touch the mezuzah and kiss it, but we have to be very careful. If not, we don't have to kiss the mezuzah. And then we're going to open up the door. Okay, and we come inside my study again. And I'm going to show you some things about the Sefer Torah. I'm not going to take it out because it would be very hard to take out the Sefer Torah, but maybe we could do this. Okay. And Yossi asked how you could see my other videos on my YouTube channel every day. I put my videos. Let's put the camera on the table here, on my table. And that way I can show you the Sefer Torah without having to hold the camera. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to open up the Aron Kodesh. It's very special. And I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to take out the Torah. And because we love the Torah so much, we always kiss the Torah. But this is my Torah, so I'm going to kiss it. If it's in shul today, we usually don't go to shul now because we're careful about staying healthy. When it's time for staying healthy, we don't kiss the Torah. But because this is my Torah and nobody else kisses it, I can give it a kiss. Okay, now let me show you some special things about the Torah. First of all, there's a special cloth on the Torah. Do you see? It's like a special cloth, and it goes in from the top of the Torah, and it goes down. We put it over the Torah, and here's the bottom of the cloth, and it has special gold on it, and it has my name on it. It says Mishpachat Pilachowski, the Pilachowski family, it says on the Torah. You can see what it says, because this is my family. I think it might look backwards to you, but this is what it says, and it has a picture of the kotel on the Sefer Torah, and we give it a special covering because we love the Torah and we take care of it very well. Now, inside the Torah is written on special klaf, it's called, and the words inside the Torah were written for the first time by Moshe, and then everybody copied his Torah, and throughout the years, we copy that Torah over and over again. And now we have the exact same Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu had. And this is my Torah. And when do I use my Torah if it's in my house? Usually we only use a Torah in shul. Every Shabbat, I take out my Torah and I study from my Torah. Like I study from these Sfarim here. So I'll also take out the Torah and I'll read the next week's Parshat HaShavua. I'll read in my Torah and get ready for the next week. And that's what I do with my Torah. So now you got to see my Torah. And I'll show you one more thing on the Torah. Let's see where it is. Here, it went all the way to the back. So I have to reach around to get it. Okay, and this is the Yad. Do you see my yad? And what we do is when we read the Torah, we point to what word we're up to, because we don't touch the inside of the Torah, because then the ink can get rubbed out. Okay, guys, I'm going to put the Torah back and give it a kiss. And remember, I'm only giving it a kiss because it's only my Torah. No one else comes and touches it. Otherwise, I have to be careful to stay healthy. I wouldn't give it a kiss, right, until we're all healthy again. And now I'm going to put it back in. Okay, I have to make sure that it can stand up straight by itself so it doesn't fall. Let's be very careful the Torah doesn't fall. And I'm going to close the Aron Kodesh. And that, everybody, is going to be the end of our show. I'm going to wish you a Shabbat Shalom. You should have a Shabbat Shalom, a great Shabbat. And I'll see you, Be'ezrat Hashem, on Yom Rishon. But just one thing to keep in mind. Excuse me. I should not have coughed that way, right? This is how we should cough. Like this. And I'm going to have to put, you know what? Let's do it right now. Sure, right? Because I coughed in my hand by accident, right away, I'm going to put some of the gel, the cleaning gel on my hand and clean my hand right away, because that's very important. We have to stay healthy. And really, I should cough like this, but sometimes I forget. But right away, because I don't want to get anyone else sick. So I clean my hands right away. I'm not sick, thank God, but I just want to be sure and be careful. Okay, if you live anywhere but in Eretz Yisrael, next week's show is going to be 1 hour earlier. Because in Eretz Yisrael, you can tell your parents, we're going to change the clocks tonight. So next week on Sunday, the show is 1 hour earlier. So if you live in New York or Florida or Atlanta or anywhere, or New Jersey or anywhere like that, it's going to be at 10:30. And if you live in California or in Oregon or in Washington, it's going to be at 7:30. Okay? And if you live somewhere in between those, you're going to have to ask your parents what time we start. Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. See you guys after Shabbat.